call on my colleagues to take down the wanted posters with judges' faces on them outside of offices and House office buildings, temper their discourse when it comes to judges who are just doing their job, stop the calls for impeachment, and oppose this very unfit bill. Thank you, and I yield back.
So I rolled that clip first because have you ever been scrolling social media and you've not heard about a story yet, and you'll see a clip and you'll hear someone saying something, and then you say to yourself, there's no way that's real. That couldn't be. I mean, surely to goodness, someone didn't actually go out and get pictures of the judges and then put their faces on a wanted poster and then hang them outside of their office. And then you start digging, and then you start realizing, yeah, someone really did that. And then the little bit harder you dig, all of a sudden you're going, yeah, crap, that was that Andy Ogles moron here in Tennessee, the same one that came up with the bill to have Trump elected for a third term, that guy, the one that figured out how to word it to where Barack Obama couldn't run again because it would have to be, you would have to serve unconsecutive terms. If you serve consecutive terms, Barack Obama, you can, or Bill Clinton, you can't, but Donald Trump, you can. Yeah, that Andy Ogles. Yeah, that moron is the one who goes out and gets pictures of judges, federal judges, because they disagreed with him. So he puts their face on a wanted poster and then hangs it outside of his office. All that I can say is that I really hope that when the history books are written and people look back on Tennessee, I really hope that they remember us for Dolly Parton and for country music and for Jack Daniels, and not for morons like Andy Ogles and Tim Burchett and Marsha Blackburn and just all of the people that we have to tolerate in this part of the world. What they did, folks, was they looked over at Donald Trump and they emulated what they saw. And there is nothing worse than a hillbilly Dollar General impression of something. There's really not. Speaking of country music, some of the greatest country music ever came out of this state. It truly did. Some of the most authentic country music ever came out of this state. But boy, when some hillbillies got a hold of it and began to mock it and imitate it and try to emulate it, yeah, so it's some of the most disgusting shit I've ever seen. I won't go off on a rant about modern day country music, but all I can tell you is that if you drive these back roads that I live on, you will never see a bunch of underwear models and Barbie dolls dancing around a swimming pool. At least I've not seen it yet. But anyway, we won't get sidetracked. We'll get back to this ridiculous shit that is Andy Ogles and him putting these wanted posters of federal judges, hanging them outside of his office. I'm going to show you a clip here of Jim McGovern talking about it. I was glad to at least see some people say, yes, we have to come together, and yes, we have to condemn this. Take a look.
This is one floor below my office, in front of Representative Ogles' office, wanted posters of judges. It says, no, get Trump judicial activists wanted. And this is the kind of stuff that some of us are asking there to be universal condemnation about. I mean, this is threatening to these judges. It has no place in the halls of Congress. I ask unanimous consent to it.
Not only would we want that, but this committee has had a long history of providing security. We are currently redacting the addresses and other information. So the one place that you'll find we won't be in front of you except united is on the security of the judges.
Can we get some agreement that members who put these posters up in front of their offices will take them down?
I don't believe we should be putting up pictures of judges.
And I thank Mr. Issa for saying that. I would hope also that all of the calls to impeach judges because members disagree with their opinions should be retracted, or at least that should cease immediately, because that is creating the climate in which...
We should all be able to condemn this.
I think everybody should condemn that. I'm glad to hear Mr. Issa agrees that that should not be going up. But I think the whole thing about talking about impeaching judges who ruled in the birthright citizenship case, or impeaching judges who are protecting our Social Security data, is very dangerous. And look, Judge Boasberg's daughter has been the subject of an online campaign of vilification and intimidation, and Justice Barrett's sister got a
Thank you, Mr. Raskin. Yeah. Thank you very much. I want to say, but I believe for all Republicans, we do not condone any calls for violence against anyone. Anyone. We do not condone any calls for violence against anyone, period.
So every day someone says to people on our side of the aisle that we need to turn down the temperature in the room. I can't count the segments that I've watched, especially like someone like a Piers Morgan. He will always have people on, and he's always talking about how that we need to bring down the temperature. and that we need to be held accountable for everything we say. When Jasmine Crockett said that Elon Musk needed to be taken down, and she didn't mean that physically, they took that and held her to account. They held her under that microscope. And I've talked about that here on the channel. They love to hold our side to a different standard than they do MAGA. And the reason for that is because MAGA is so over-the-top ridiculous with their WWE-style rhetoric that just equals ratings for the mainstream media. They love it. They love what MAGA is doing, and they love to bring someone like us on and then hold us to account for every word that comes out of our mouth and give them a pass for it. And that is their way of going about sane washing this insanity. That's why you'll never see me on one of those panels. I have been asked to be on those panels. I've said no, because I think they're one of the most toxic forms of, and I hope Piers Morgan sees this. If you see this, I want you to know that your format is one of the most toxic formats that I've ever seen. Does absolutely nothing for the conversation. Just brings a bunch of smart people on and a bunch of stupid people on, and then you gang up on the smart people and try to make them look stupid. And when that happens, you end up causing smart people to lose all doubt in themselves, and you end up giving stupid people more confidence than they ever should have. It's not up to us to turn down the temperature in the room when we've got people continuously turning up the heat. It's not time for us to heal and make things right with these people when they're still twisting a knife in our back. And they let us know each and every day. They let us know that they do not believe in democracy, nor do they stand for it. They've made that clear, because they want all the checks and balances to be out of place so Donald Trump can do what they want him to do. And all they have to do is flatter him. All they have to do is tell him some story about how some evil Democrat mistreated them, and he will make them a hero. He'll make them a patriot. He'll make them a little folk hero. All they have to do is walk in. They could line up any fraudster, any criminal, any mobster, and say, hey, this person supported you. They donated your campaign. And Joe Biden's who found them guilty. And all of it's bullshit, by the way. But if they say that and they flatter this dude, he'll go out there and he'll give them a pardon like that. He doesn't care one bit. So it's not up to us to turn down the temperature in the room, and it's not up to us to heal when they continue to do stuff like this. When they put someone's face on a wanted picture, yeah, they're doing it for their WWE theater, and yeah, they're doing it to get ratings, and yeah, they're doing it because they know people's going to talk about it and push the story around. They get that. And they've even admitted out loud that they do this stuff so the media will start talking and they can then manipulate everything. But what I look to, if you want to talk about turning the temperature up or down, what I look to is all of the disillusioned, disgruntled, and mentally ill people who are out there watching this stuff, and they see these judges' faces on a wanted poster. And then they say to themselves, hey, they're trying to take Trump out. They're trying to stand in the way of Trump making my life better. And that kind of stuff gets in those people's heads. They buy into that type of rhetoric. I understand that reasonable people is going to look at this and just roll their eyes and realize how stupid Andy Ogles truly is. We can all agree that he's a moron, and I'm sorry that he's from Tennessee. I truly am. I apologize to the rest of the country that we have a jackass like that on the national stage. But it's the people sitting back watching this. I'm not saying that every Republican out there or every right-leaning person is going to see that and then go off on some kind of tangent. But there is the disgruntled out there that will. And that's what we have to keep speaking up and calling this stuff down, because it's only going to lead to more violence. It's only going to lead to more division. It does nothing. It does nothing except appease the worst of people and get everyone distracted from the real issues that are going on. But I think people needs to really stop and pause on this note and really think for a minute. Trump wants immunity for his job. That's number one. He wants immunity for what he will call official acts. Do you think he'll ever call one unofficial? No, of course he wouldn't. And if he goes through here and every time a judge disagrees with him, well, impeach that judge. Get rid of that judge. Get him out of here. That's not democracy. You see, they've completely bastardized the entire argument of democracy. Elon Musk says, well, the people voted for the president, so we have to let the will of the president play out. Well, the problem with that is you have a president who wants to completely ignore the Constitution. You have a president who completely wants to ignore the checks and balances. He wants to completely ignore and have no respect for the judges in our system. So if you start impeaching judges you disagree with and getting rid of them and getting them out of office, and pretty soon you've just got all judges in your image, that's not democracy. It's also not what the people voted for. Because they may get what they want right now. I always say this. They may, hey, you know, let's impeach that judge. Let's be successful at it. Oh, cool, we got our way. But there's going to come a day when they won't get their way. There's going to come a day when the script gets flipped. And when that happens, they're going to be on the opposite side of it. We're already seeing it happen with some of them. Some of them are already starting to say, hey, I screwed up. Some of them are already starting to say, I have buyer's remorse. And a lot of those people who are saying they have buyer's remorse are the people that really weren't paying attention the entire time. And I'm not trying to throw shade at these people or knock these people, because I understand that they were working hard. They were trying to feed their families. They were trying to pay their bills. They didn't really have time to follow politics every day. They just turned on random panels of people yelling at one another. And then it come close to the election time, and, well, Donald Trump's coming back. Hell, I don't know, grocery bill was a little cheaper when he was in. Let's try that again. They weren't paying attention this entire time because the mainstream media was too busy same-washing this guy. That's the bone I have to pick with the mainstream media. They were so busy same-washing Trump that all of his madness went over people's head, and there's people going, wait a minute, he's doing that? Ain't what I voted for. Yeah, it is. And if you'd have been listening to people like us, we were sitting over here telling you the entire time. We were warning the entire time, that's about to happen. But people thought we were just being hyperbolic. And it's one of the most frustrating things that we've ever had to combat, but we'll continue to do so. So I really appreciate y'all so much for subscribing to this channel. If you like the kind of content I do, be sure and hit that subscribe button. We're on the road to 1 million. We're closing in on 700,000. That's really hard for me to wrap my mind around because I'm in a town that's so small. We got like 4 stoplights in the whole town. So it's like, really? Like, there's like this big world out there that listens to what I have to say. I truly appreciate each and every one of you. So thank you for that. And if you ever want to join us over on Patreon, I've been putting some stuff over there. I'm about to do a video. I'm going to record it when I get done with this one. I'm going to do a video about my Mount Rushmore of cover songs that are better than the originals. Because there are some. Usually the original is always the best, but there are a few exceptions to that. And so I'll be doing a Patreon video on that later today. But y'all hang in there. If you ever come to Tennessee, look up people like me and talk to us and ignore the Andy Ogles and the Tim Burches of the world. They're just grifters at the moment. They're just Dollar General Trumps that are going to try to backpedal when this is all over, and I'll be right here in Tennessee, and I won't let them off the hook. To Andy Ogles and Tim Burchett, I promise you, when you try to put the toothpaste back in the tube, old Tennessee Brando is going to be standing here rolling those reels of you going along with this shit. I'm never going to let you live it down. Just know, I will never let you live this garbage down.